Hello YouTube. So I thought I'd share a video of something I worked on for about a half a day. It's a pig or hog skinning table. So my wife works at a hospital, and this was an old hospital bed that was going to the scrap. So I became the scrapper and took it and turned it into this hog skinning table. I've used some of the material for other projects, but what I did was I kept the base the way it was. I added a couple of upright legs. Those are probably 1/8 inch, inch and a half angle iron. But if you've ever worked with anything made out of a bed frame, that material is high carbon steel, and it is much stronger than regular mild steel. So I use that for the uprights. And then I use some tube steel to make the V, and then some in the middle I used 1x1 3/16 angle, mitered it to fit over the tube, and then just to give those center boards a little extra support. On the outside I used the end, like the head or the foot of the bed frame, to just cap that off. Not really necessary, but so the only part of the wood that doesn't have extra support would be this very end on the outside, which minimal weight will be there. And then for the wood, I used some maple. The reason I went with maple is that you can use maple to make cutting boards. It's not porous, so it doesn't harbor bacteria like if you were to use pine or hemlock, oak. It'll harbor bacteria. So maples was my choice for that. I had that lumber. It was just some rough cut maple board that I ran through a planer and put it on here. It looks really nice. Makes working a little better, with something that looks decent. But you could use whatever. And then for the tubing, I bent that on a cheap Harbor Freight tubing bender that I've had for over 25 years. It doesn't do a great job, but as far as a project like this, it's wonderful. You can see it kinks a little bit. But so that's the basic of it. It's got heavy duty casters, so it'll be able to handle the weight. And the pigs are probably going to be around 350 pounds when they get on here. So I have sat on it, kind of jumped on it, rolled around on it. It doesn't flex or bend, doesn't need any more support. If ever I decided I want to process one of my cows, and before I did that, I'd add some angle bracing down here. But I'm fairly certain this will hold, a 800 or 900 pound cow too. Not planning on doing that. The reason that I'm processing my own pork and not sending it to the butcher, which I would love to be able to do my cows, I'm just not experienced enough to do that or willing to risk it, is, for one, I just think it's gonna produce a better quality meat. The animal's not stressed. We don't have all that adrenaline running through them from being loaded into a trailer and then dumped at a facility that I don't know how they treat them. I'm sure not very well, in some holding pen. So, their last day will be no different than every day that they've been here. So I believe that will produce more tender and better quality meat. Also, there's no longer any processors in my area that will cure pork without using sodium nitrate. So we don't particularly want sodium nitrate in our meat. For one, I have a elderly father-in-law who has an allergic reaction to meats that are cured with sodium nitrate. But also, I just don't want, I haven't fed them any synthetic feed or growth hormone, so why would I cure their meat with a synthetic curing agent? When celery juice powder does the same thing, it's from a natural plant, and it's going to give us, at least in our minds, the belief that it's better. I don't know. I'm not making any claims. I'm just saying for us, that's what we're going to use. So we're going to process them from start to finish. I didn't raise the piglets, but I bought them as piglets all the way until we have sausage, bacon. I will not be making any ham. I'm just not a ham lover. But those hams will make great sausage. So, or pulled pork. So this is my hog skinning table. I probably won't show it in use because even though I'm not monetized on YouTube, YouTube doesn't overly like that. And it will be my first time processing a hog, so I'd probably look like a fool. But that's where we're at. Just thought I'd show a video of something else a little different than cows all the time. Yeah, just basic tools, a cheap Harbor Freight bender, an angle grinder, and a welder. That's all it took to make it. I looked at buying one of these, and you can make one out of 2x4s or whatever, but they're really expensive, and I just prefer, when I have it available for something like this, I prefer steel. And like I said, it didn't cost me anything. The only thing I had to buy to build this would be, welding wire and gas, but that's minimal. I already have it. And those bolts to bolt those boards down. And like I think I said, the boards are all supported underneath with some angle iron. The legs going from the base to the table, that's all bed frame material. And if you've ever worked with that, that's a higher carbon steel than like a mild steel. So that stuff is way stronger than regular angle iron. So that's why I didn't need the bracing on it. So there's that. Just thought I'd share this. If you're in need of, or you're skinning your own animals and you're needing a skinning table, just look around. There's got to be something junk available that you can make one out of without spending a fortune on it for something that really don't use very often. We might skin a deer on this too, but a pig or two a year, probably 2 pigs every other year, will be all it's used for. But I wanted it sturdy, durable, and I wanted it to look nice too. That's why I gave it a quick spray can paint job and the maple on it. It'll make using it a little bit more pleasurable than something slapped together out of, 2x4s or pallets or something like that. And I had that maple board. It was 2 boards. 2 boards that are 4 inches wide, 3/4 inch thick or so. They were 1 inch, but I ran them through a planer. And yeah, so I had to buy a few bolts. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up. DIY hog skinning table.